My name is Brian Glick. Today we are looking at managing guard retention, and retaining your guard is very important, of course, against people of any size, particularly as many have been asking about with a larger person, a stronger person, someone who is much more dynamic. Your guard retention makes all the difference, because if you're never able to regulate the distance between you and your partner, you're always going to feel like that pressure that they're putting on you is crushing, that they're able to advance incrementally or sometimes all at once, and before you know it, you have no guard. Your shoulders are pinned, your hips are pinned, and now you're working from a defensive position where first you have to get back to a more equal or neutral position before you even start to get any offense going at all. So if you do this over and over again, it can be a little bit demoralizing, where you're constantly under pressure. It's exhausting, it's frustrating, and you need to have a way around it. So what we're going to talk about today in terms of guard retention is not any grand plan, but rather something very simple, very specific, and it's going to involve a rewiring of how you understand your basic guard retention from a position like the cross side, which you learn very early on. And it goes back to the knee elbow escape. Okay, most paths, both defensive and then guard retention wise, come back to some sort of hip escape or knee elbow escape. And for today, we're going to start by looking at being in the bottom of the cross side position and how you would normally escape. Okay, the way you would normally escape is you would create a frame, you would hip out, and then you would bring your inside knee to your elbow so that you can make space. Okay, it would look something like this. Our partner is here in the cross side position. We establish a frame here, one up at our partner's collarbones, the other down by their hip. They're looking to control us with the cross face. We plant a foot, we move our hips out slightly, and then we take our knee and our elbow, we join them together, we extend our body away. Then from here, we begin either to move our hips all the way across and recover the closed guard, or else we end up back in the butterfly guard, looking something like this. We're framing, moving across, and we bring our knee in, pommel the second leg, and then from here we can start to forward shift and sit up. This is the classic way of replacing the guard from the cross-side position. Is very important, and you need to be able to do it this way. The trouble is that relying on your bottom knee in a case of guard retention is sometimes more difficult than it seems. And if you try to use this same strategy of replacing your guard using the bottom knee, then you often find yourself in a bunch of trouble. And how does that work? Well, today we're going to illustrate this with a very common version of the Bullfight Pass, where our partner comes forward, they post on our hip and our knee, they begin to drive our knee down, and they begin to walk out to the side here. Okay, usually the next step from here is they drop a knee, often they drop their shoulder, they push our legs by, and we're here in a position where our hips are controlled, our partner is starting to expose our back, and we're sunk. So when this happens, and our partner begins this action here, and they start to drop, we're at a very critical point right here. Rotate with me, please. His hand is posted here on my knee. This means that any work that I want to do to replace the guard using the knee-elbow escape is going to be very, very difficult. His pushing hand prevents my knee from coming through, and in fact, the more I push, the more I freeze us in place, and the easier it is for him to then walk around and drop his hip on that side, forcing my knees out in this direction. So, although the knee-elbow escape works great when we can move our knee from the cross-side position, when our partner is passing with a bullfight variation, gi or no gi, it's very, very difficult to manage this knee and this hand position. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a frame in place here at our partner's shoulder and their bicep. We want to do this because this inside arm has one purpose. It's to take head control after he's passed the knee line. And once he does this now, with our head controlled, life becomes a lot more difficult, okay, as you probably know. Especially a bigger, stronger person, they blaze past your legs, and before you know it, you're thinking the elbow escape. They have head control, and they're dropping their hips. You're here. So, as our partner goes to post, the first thing we're going to focus on is a stiff arm, two stiff arms, one at the bicep, one here at the shoulder.
This is going to stop them from dropping their shoulder. It's also going to stop them from gaining head control. If he wanted to switch off here to control my head, go ahead, please. We have the ability now to bring this leg across, either foot first or shin first, knee first. So this is going to be the first stop on our defensive journey. Next, we realize that we can't bring this knee through, so we're going to have to employ the second leg. That's the top leg. Now again, sit up please. Normally, when you're in this position, you're looking to bring your bottom leg through the space and connect it to your elbow. When we can't do that, we have to use the second leg, and we're going to bring that leg across to create a barrier and regulate the distance. So he posts, we post. He's starting to drop the shoulder. We can't bring our bottom leg through. So we're going to take our top knee and we're going to place it here across in front of our partner's collarbones. This is designed now to bear some of his weight. When he goes to drop his weight and start putting pressure, we have our hands and we have a top leg to use so that we can keep this space wide open. Again, especially with a larger partner, when they start to drop their weight on you here, it's now a tremendous amount of effort to push their shoulders down, to hip out, to start to pommel, and inevitably in the process, they turn your knees to the outside and you end up with back exposure, cross-side position, and you're squashed down on the bottom. So our job here, after we frame, is to bring the second knee across and create a barrier to keep our partner's weight off of us. Now, even as he drops his hip, go ahead, drive the knee, please. We can keep our partner away. First with our hands, now we have the use of this leg. So now we have two hands and one leg, two arms rather, and one leg working here to prevent our partner from driving into us. Now, once this happens, we have the ability, as our partner go to continue to push my bottom knee through here, we have the ability now to slip past our partner's hand, bring our knee inside, move our partner back, and begin to recover the guard. So, we'll look at it from a little bit of a different angle here. Our partner goes to post, walk, we're framing. Now from here, if our partner wants to push this knee across, they're going to turn our legs out to the side and begin to pass. So we begin with a post on the shoulder. Rotate a little bit this way. Okay, that's good. Posting here on the shoulder and the hand on the bicep. Now there's no head control. When he goes to control my head, he finds it very difficult. As he goes to drop here, I can't use this bottom leg, so I'm going to plant the foot, move the hip to the outside, and then we're going to place this knee across as a frame just along the line of our partner's collarbones. So we have two hands pushing, one shin pushing, and our partner goes to drive into us. They feel like it's very, very difficult, almost impossible to close this gap. And into this gap, we can now start to bring our legs back. We can take our knee through the space, find our partner's bicep as they go to square up or to start to pass the other direction here. Now we're in a place where we can start to pommel our legs and recover our guard. So what's happening here, we'll show you one more time. What's happening here is we're creating first a barrier with our hands, then we're creating a barrier with our top shin. Contrast that with how you would normally do a knee elbow escape, where you're framing with your arms and then bring your bottom leg through. Now we're bringing our top leg through because the bottom leg is at risk of getting pushed all the way across our partner's leg. So once again, partner comes in, posts. Immediately here we find our partner's shoulder and their bicep. We want to avoid the head control. Now they start to drop and push the knee. We're going to plant our foot, move our body to the outside, bring our top leg in. As they continue to pressure in, they're no longer able to get that valuable chest-to-chest position. We're going to push back, bring our knee through the space. Now from here, your foot can find your partner's hip. You're going to bring your head square in line with your partner, create some distance, and now you're back up into the open guard, butterfly guard, your legs back in front of you. So what's key in terms of a takeaway for this series is, number one, understanding that the traditional knee elbow escape types of methods, it's not that they don't work, but in the process of a pass like the Toreando, a Bullfight Pass, where your partner's trying to blaze past your legs, you don't have the ability to slide that knee back through. And that's when you have to recruit your second leg, your top leg, to begin to create an additional barrier. So you have initially just your hands, then you add the power of your knee, then eventually you're able to work back and put your legs back in front of you. If you can use this method to avoid your partner putting a lot of pressure on you, you'll feel a lot more comfortable in your guard and in the process of recovering your guard. It's not that it won't be difficult sometimes, of course it will be, but you'll have enough space where you can feel like you can breathe, move around, and recompose your guard so you can go back on the attack.
Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, let us know, and we'll see you soon.